Okay, since I'm wearing 3D glasses, that means I probably just finished catching a 3D movie. I decided to go see Tron Legacy in 3D. I have to say this movie is undeniably visually stunning. Definitely worth seeing in theaters. And the nice thing is, in the opening couple minutes, they more or less introduce the like four main characters you really need to know. Kevin Flynn, his son Sam, Clue, and Tron. That's pretty much the bulk of who you really need to know about in the movie. You get to learn about, Cora later on. That's the Olivia Wilde character. But those are pretty much it. You have like 4 or 5 characters that you kind of actually need to understand for this movie to really make sense. And that happens the night when Kevin Flynn is talking to his son Sam before he disappears. Roughly 20 years go by. Sam is now kind of like, I don't want to say adrenaline junkie. He's very good at racing a motorcycle. He's kind of not a huge fan of the company that his father helped found, MCOM. You can insert all of your bizarre Microsoft-related things that you want to, especially when they describe their new software. Well, how's it an update? We put a 12 on the box. So, Alan, who was one of Kevin's business partners, gets a page and tells Sam, I got a page. It's from your dad's old office. Dad's been disconnected for 20 years. Sam goes there and inadvertently gets sent to the grid, which is where the bulk of this movie takes place at. So this is where you get to see, the light disc games, the light motorcycles, as well as like light starship fighting. This is where this movie becomes just uber when it comes to visuals. Only one problem though. It did not take full advantage of the 3D effects at all. This one seems like 3D was almost like an afterthought. It's super visually impressive, but I never really got that. I'm so glad I spent $2.50 more to see this in 3D. I didn't get it the whole time. When they have, you have people on motorcycles racing each other, leaving trails of light behind, you'd think you'd feel a lot more really drawn into it. And they do use 3D effects there, but that's about it. You get it for like the light disc fight, or Disc Wars, the light cycle section, and then you also get it towards the end when they're doing the light fighters. Beyond that, there really isn't a real emphasis on the 3D elements. Beyond that, amazingly visual. Now, since everyone except for Sam is a program, you would expect there to be somewhat kind of wooden acting, which makes sense because they're all programs. They really don't know that much about overall human level interaction. You do get a really phenomenal performance by Bridges, period. Since he's playing the young version, Clue, and the old version. It's sometimes it does feel like I'm watching the dude from The Big Lebowski though, because he really does have this, like, you're really harshing my Zen feel right now. But he does deliver a really good performance. When he's talking about how he had this quest for perfection, and then the whole time he felt like he was doing that, he really ignored his son and he forgot that the true perfection, was what he created, and it was his son. You get moments like that, and it's done really well. He puts in a really fantastically passionate performance in this. Essentially being a dad who gets to see his son for the first time in 20 years because he's stuck essentially in a computer program. That's done really well. He also does a great job as playing the main villain, Clue. Hopefully I didn't ruin any of that for anybody. You kind of figured that out pretty early on. The twists and turns are fairly standard, I'll give it that. They're done well. I can say that this is definitely worth seeing on the big screen. 3D, not really. It didn't take full advantage of the 3D effects. The ending is... it leaves it open for the potential of a sequel, lightly, but it did just feel somewhat anticlimactic. This whole time you got the man trapped inside the program, and the program he created to perfect the program, and you thought that that you're going to have this this massive battle towards the end, and you get it a little bit, and then it comes down to like the last couple of minutes. That's kind of a letdown somewhat. It's a letdown from a climax standpoint. It's actually pretty decent from an emotional standpoint. So for Tron, I have to say, definitely worth seeing on the big screen, not worth seeing in 3D.